Morning students, again with one more fresh new video, but this video is going to be a very special one. I have a very small piece of advice relating to the corona pandemic. A story I would like to narrate first, and then we'll move on to the video for class 12th IAD chapter number 6. So here goes the story, a little anecdote I must say कि इस समय हम सभी परेशान हैं कोरोना से। हम परेशान, एक छोटी सी कहानी मैं बताती हूँ कि मान लीजिए हम ट्रेन में बैठे हैं। किसे डर लगता है? जिसने टिकट ले रखा है या जो बिना टिकट है। द पर्सन हु इज़ विदाउट टिकट इज श्योरली गोइंग टू बी फियरफुल कि टीटी आएगा, टीटी चेक करेगा। इजंट इट और नॉट? देयर इज़ अ फियर। सेम वे there is a corona of fear. We need to buy a ticket. And what is a ticket? A ticket is the protection we will take against corona. Likewise, have warm water, use tulsi leaves, badi dalchini, badi ilaichi, all these things in your regular drinking process. Add them in a tea. Tulsi extract is the best and you will be free. So buy a ticket, be happy and be on your journey. Maintain a smile. All the best. And coming back to the lesson, India's foreign trade. What is international trade? International trade means integrated with the global economy. What is integration? Means export and import of goods and services across the countries. And there are few things we would like to observe in what we have in international trade. Firstly, specialization. Specialization moves on to the principle of comparative cost advantage. What is comparative cost advantage? It is that if similar products are there in the market, you can very well compare the cost and price your commodity. Secondly, a country specializes in the production of the good which it is good at and can produce lower than the cost compared to the other countries. Then international trade thus facilitates export at the higher price compared to the domestic prices. Then international events promotes, facilitates imports much lower than the domestic price. Then also we have market expansion, growth of market size, that is capacity for investment increases. And lastly, that there is a big push to the GDP. It's a natural that investment increases, GDP also increases. Moving on to India's foreign trade at the time of independence. Here I would like to highlight the few points. Firstly, India suffered exploitation and during the British rule. That is, there was a great exploitation in the Indian economy. Secondly, Britishers exploited our natural resources to feed their domestic industries. Next point, that Britishers reduced the India just to using their finished products. And since substantial amount of our raw material was exported to British industries, our handicraft industries just perished. They just got destroyed. On the eve of independence, our trade of balance was favorable. That is, export was better than imports. But in 46 and 47, estimated 31 crores, and in 47-48 it was just 14 crores. It was because that substantial amount of raw material was now being consumed in our domestic industries. That's why the trade fell from 31 crores to 14 crores. As the regard for the direction, our international trade was just confined to the British markets, exporting of raw materials. And lastly, that our exports were included largely only to the raw material, and finished goods were fully imported from British economy. India's foreign trade after independence. Here there was full to economy rising to the sky, volume also increased, and with these also few points I would like to highlight, that the percentage of exports and imports seemed to be shooting up, and it was because of the base effect. What do you mean by base effect? It is a concept that what was before and what is now. Base, the economy was 0.5, 0.1, and then imports and export rising. The little move also showed a great difference. That's called a base effect. And there was a decline in the global trend that are during the 50-51 it was declined 1.8. The global trade fell, and then in 1991 it was 0.5 because we stopped exporting raw material. And naturally there was a big push, there was a big change just after 1991 when there was an implementation of new economic policy. Composition of foreign trade. What do you understand by composition of foreign trade? It refers to the items that were exported and imported. In this context, there are 3 points. Decline in the percentage share of the agricultural exports. This happened due to 2 reasons. Firstly, our domestic industries were coming up and the raw material were used up by the agro-based industries. Secondly, a domestic consumption was increased due to the increase in the population. Second point, decline in the percentage share of the conventional items. What do you mean by conventional item? The items which were being exported from age old. From long time we have been exporting those products, and these were tea, jute, food grains and minerals. Now there was a decline in this also as our industries were moving up, they were given protection, and there was a lot of consumption domestically. But we made a mark in the percentage share in the manufactured goods, vehicles, machinery, gems and precious stones and metals. Precious metals were exported because, and these started showing lot of yields, and there was expansion after the independence in these industries. Direction of the trade. Direction means in all direction, all over the world. Previously, India was confined only to USA and UK and the Commonwealth countries. Now the question arises, which countries do we take in as Commonwealth countries? Which countries are Commonwealth countries? The countries where there was a colonial rule. The countries which were under the British rule. The countries which were colonized by the Britishers. And lastly, we can say the countries which were Britishers' colonies. And for the direction, after 1951, there was a hike in the international trade. Presently, UAE, Hong Kong, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, Belgium, UK, Japan, not what? We have tapped all the countries across the world. Then, UAE has emerged a great partner, and USA also. And third number is China, which are our export and import partners. USA's share in India's export, it is 15.9%, UAE 9.1, and China is only taking in Indian products 5.1%. Not talking about imports. As far as India's imports are concerned, China just 13.7. Have you seen the change? 5.7, 5.1 is the export from India, but import from China is 13.7. UAE 6.9, Saudi Arabia 5.6, and new partner Saudi Arabia has come up with 4% in GDP. I would like to bring to your notice a very, very notable feature of international trade, that China has shot up, has become like a big shot in Indian market. It has been able to make a mark or have a foothold in the Indian market rather than India making a mark in China's market. Our export are just 5.1, whereas China's imports are 13.7%. So China has really flared in Indian market rather than India making a mark in China's market. Thank you friends. Enjoy.